Take note of the roll. Consent agenda. Everybody have everything good with the consent agenda? Everybody got a motion?
Move approval.
Okay, got a motion to approve the consent items. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda items are approved. Citizen comments. Anybody know anything about Gloria? Have we heard anything? No? Wow, okay. Anybody else? Citizen comments? No? Presentations from supporting organizations, Friends of the Library. Donna, how are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
Good to
very
see you
much.
again.
Hello, I'm Donna Miller, and I represent the Friends this evening. I think we're sort of zooming along in the coattails that Tina has thrown out there for the community. We are finding the donations of used books for the bookstore to just be overwhelming. The amount of stuff coming in has sort of got us to the point where, as you know, we've got a sale going on with blue stickers on all the books that are at the front. The Family Fresh receipts that we collect, we're up to 140,000 now. Probably by Labor Day, we'll have our 150, which will bring another $1,000 into the Friends. And that's really about all I have to report.
Okay. Questions? Do you know anything about what's going on with Gloria?
I have not seen Gloria for a while, so I don't know.
Would we know if anything happened to her? Would we?
I would think so. I would think somebody in the Friends would know.
Okay.
I'll make a point though to,
We miss her.
it's been a while. I know that at some point last spring, she stopped coming to the Friends meetings because they conflicted with something else she was involved with.
Okay.
There's a concern. I'll check with Joyce, and Joyce asked me to come tonight because she's already got 2 other meetings this week, so I'll check with Joyce and see.
Okay.
And if we do find that there is a concern of any sort, I'll communicate that with you, Rich.
Excellent. Thank you.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
thought I could introduce myself. I'm Steve Bull. I live up in St. Joe's. I'm on the St. Joe's Town Board and designated as a representative of St. Joe's to, as a liaison, if you will, with the library.
Excellent.
So I thought I'd just stop in and see what's going on and try to I'm new to the board and the whole thing that's going on up there and trying to learn and see what we can do to help you guys or vice versa. And I know she's been up to the meetings every month.
Yeah,
tells us
Barbara's up
what's
there.
going on.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent. Well,
I'm definitely for the learning part of it. And if I don't say much, it's not just learning.
okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you. President's comments, reports, requests for action. There's municipality updates. You kind of caught a little flavor of what Dave was saying. One of the things that happened last year when the city of Hudson offered up the additional $40,000 to help to open up on Mondays is that it was about 15%, represented about 15% more than what we had been paying in the past. And on top of that, the city had already agreed to increase by 5%. So essentially, we had a very large increase without thinking about it, I don't think anyway. The city put itself in a situation where that money was not segregated from the additional 5%, and we were put in a position where that is now included into the 3-year average that we, by law, must pay. And so that represents somewhere between like a $17,500 and $19,000 automatic increase that we're going to be providing to the library. So I really don't know. We have not had the conversation at Hudson yet about any additional funding beyond that. And I'm not even sure if everybody on the council is aware that that 40,000 gets rolled into the three-year average at this point. They will soon when we move into the budgeting cycle. So, good news is there's an increase coming from Hudson, and but we've got to determine if there's going to be any additional money after that.
What's the timing on the city of Hudson as far as their budget?
We should be in September reviewing the budget. It's already pretty much been laid out. But
so at some point in time, someone from the library board has to go and officially request those funds? Is that how it goes?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sometime between now and mid-September.
Yeah. And we don't necessarily have to. It was something that we started to do. We were able to have conversations without going before the whole council, but I started going to the councils a couple years ago asking for increase, and David's represented us at the town.
The bylaws say that the budget, this thing, has to be approved by September 1, so we can submit it to the partners.
September what?
September 1st.
First? Okay.
So we can submit it to the partners, because we start working on our budgets, and then we need that number to put in the line item
Okay.
in the town.
So we're in the right
village
time
budget.
frame.
So
Okay.
I'm hoping to go to the one of the budget workshops in St. Joe to be available to answer questions.
Good. Well, hopefully you hear that we're looking for an increase, and we did not get one last year, and I don't know that we got one the year before.
Well, actually, because of state law,
The 3-year averaging.
the 3-year average means that St. Joe will have to give us a little bit more
Yeah.
of like $800 or something. Is that right?
Well, and the other, just to give you a little perspective on this, the other municipalities had given anywhere between 2% and 5% over the last few years.
But you're right. Last year it was a decrease, and I think the year
Yeah.
before it was flat.
Yeah.
So
So here are the 3-year averages right up here.
Oh.
So on a Hudson will actually go down.
Well, down from what we actually gave last year, if there's no
Yeah.
additional
We gave
increase.
a 3% increase last
Oh,
year.
you did?
That's
Okay.
the minimum.
But if you
That's
look
the
at, if you look at like 2015, the actual at 300,900, and then we moved to 317,000. That's because of the 3-year average.
Yeah.
What was I'm trying to figure out what was the intent of the city council when they did the 40,000. Can you give us some, because, I mean, from my perspective, it seems like if they're not prepared or weren't prepared to give the 40,000 every year to maintain the opening on Monday, then one of two other options would have been their intent. One would be to force the library board to spend more money to keep the library open on Mondays, because that's what's going to happen, and that would create a budget issue if that 40,000 wasn't maintained, right? Or the other intent was to just do it for a year. I think it would be important to know what the intent was behind what they did.
Number one, first of all, there could have been more things to be considered besides the 2 that you presented.
Okay, well that's my opinion.
And-
That's just my opinion.
right,
That's what I'm
right.
just saying.
And-
it seems like they're either forcing us into a budgetary issue, or they just did it for a year as a courtesy.
Is he expecting fireworks?
I don't know.
So,
noise. It was just louder.
first of all, I certainly cannot speak to the intent of the council. And I wasn't there. I wasn't, I was witness some of the meetings, but I have no idea. I can say this. I do know this. At the same time, Roy was still doing his machinations with county board, trying to take away the 30%. We
Right.
thought that he was probably going to be successful with that, and that was part of the reason why the city stepped up with additional funding was to make up for a loss of that 30%, but they also wanted to make sure that we were going to be open on Mondays, and so they offered up a little bit more. I think another scenario for them was that they were looking at the discussions that were going on with the foundation, saying that they were going to start to step up and actually raise money, where before they had never raised money for operating expenses. Now they were considering it, okay? And that goes a long way. Beyond that, can I impute to them the knowledge that they were going to be increasing our 3-year average? I have no idea. It certainly wasn't.
When I look at that, I don't know. I don't get the paper. I don't read the paper, so I don't know. I understand that the county, through the grapevine, I understand that the county, at least preliminarily, has voted to do this split
Yeah.
funding,
From 77
where they
to
discriminated
54.
against us
Right.
at 70% and give everybody else 100%.
Right.
I would just be curious. I haven't looked at the roll call on that. I would just be curious who voted for that.
We know who voted for it, and there was a roll call, and it was 11-6. Or
11-6.
Well, how did the city representatives vote on that?
Agnes Ring, Bob Long, Tom Coulter's, North Hudson, of course. So
I know
Agnes,
Tom
Agnes
voted against it.
yeah, Tom did. Bob Long represents the city. Roy Schulberg represents the city. He voted for it.
Right.
I can't remember her name out there by what is that? Heritage Green, who replaced Chris Kilberg.
Right.
Voted with Roy. Voted against
Okay,
the city.
so she voted for it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, it only makes sense that, I mean, North Hudson voted against it. The representatives from Hudson are
Split.
voting to raise taxes. I'm just so confused by it. And whatever Roy's vendetta is against the library is just amazing to me. But he's voting against his own constituents to raise their taxes. So it's only fair that the city covers the balance. I mean, so it's like, the city
What?
voted again.
I mean, that's the
voted for
most
it.
convoluted logic I've ever heard.
No, I mean, seriously, the city representatives on the county board.
So you're going to hold the city council responsible for the actions of the people that
No,
represent
I'm just
them at
saying
the
that
county level?
the funding has been reduced by city representatives.
But Kurt, the
so-
law says you gotta use the 3-year average, or if you're successful in
Or you
convincing
can
them
raise
for
it.
more,
Right.
great. So that's what we have to follow, 3-year average, or
For this
let's go
budget,
do a
for
wonderful
our budget.
show at the city council and at the town of Hudson, at every location, and try to get more.
I'm just saying, that's the feeling that I have as a representative of North Hudson. That it was, I'm just confused as to why the city representatives
So
would reduce the funding to their own library, like that. It's confusing. North Hudson didn't do that.
Nobody has reduced any funding whatsoever.
Well, if they vote for that budget, they will reduce
What budget?
the county
The
budget
county.
Oh, you're talking about the city representatives? Oh,
on the county board.
yeah. Well, I mean that I thought you were talking about
No,
our
the
city
city
budget.
representatives on the county.
Well, yeah,
board.
go after them. They should all be unelected. There's no question about it. They are clearly voting against 100% of their
I didn't mean to
constituency.
confuse you there. No, when I say city representative, I mean the city.
Yeah, there's
the
no doubt
people
about
from the
it.
city who
They
sit on
need to be unelected.
on the
Clearly.
county board.
Clearly.
Yeah, it's just disturbing. It makes no sense what they did. It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
There is no logic to it, but it happened.
But it's Roy, so I guess that speaks for itself.
Right. Okay. So that's it on the municipality front. On the where we at here?
Can I just
That-
add a couple
and we-
of just points? Tina is going to be drafting an article for the St. Joe newsletter that goes, they have a spring fall newsletter, so we're going to have a little bit of promotion in the St. Joe newsletter, trying to encourage more knowledge and use of resources. And hopefully we will have someone at the fall festival too representing the library with a booth to make it possible for people to sign up for library cards, among other things. So,
Good.
anyway, so we're trying.
Excellent. All right, so that's it pretty much for me. Everybody knows what's going on with the county. That's what's happening in municipalities. we'll be getting out there. I've talked to Jeff Johnson about this already. Dave and I have had some conversation about it. I've got to get up to Tom Spaniel. So, that's it. Tina?
All right. I had a phone call on my answering machine at 11 o'clock on August 1st from our dear President Rich about National Night Out. So we got our team together and we were out there, and it was a very successful event. Handed out lots of card applications. Mary walked around with Baby Bear, and the library was really well received. I am working on a workflow analysis of our workroom, trying to streamline and make sure we are being as efficient as possible. I have done employee performance reviews on the associate librarian, youth services, and all library assistants. I'll be working on library clerks and library aides. I just want to make sure everybody knows what's expected, what their job descriptions are, and that we're all on the same page. Susan will be going on maternity leave on August 20th. So I am hoping, one of the things actually down at the bottom is that we have 4 library aide positions open. I'm hoping to actually hire 1 or 2 more library aides and 1 library clerk. So kind of combine to give us a little more flexibility with our clerks, and that'll cover Susan while she's gone as well. First annual health fair, that was a really big success. If you notice down in the lobby, we have the memorial quilt up right now. September is Library Card Month. We are working with, we actually have 9 partners. This is our flyer. So these are all the local businesses that are going to offer a discount, or we've got $1 off at Dairy Queen, and just different things during the month of September for any library patron who comes in and shows their library card. The Purple Tree is donating a gift basket, so anyone who comes in and gets a library card will be entered into a drawing, or if they bring in their receipt from shopping around town, they will be entered into a drawing. And Jenny Olson and Associates Century 21 Premier Group has donated a $50 gift card to Seasons Gallery. So we'll have 2 drawings going on in September. Our September newsletter is getting ready to go out. We've got lots of things coming up. The summer reading program was a pretty big success. We doubled our adult participation this year. So, but I will have all those numbers pulled together next month. And then I gave you a list of the programs and things that are coming up. One of the things I don't have on that list on the report is the business etiquette for professionals. So we're having someone come in, we're going to offer that. We're also working with SCORE to get some workshops going, and that's something the foundation will hopefully be helping us with. And let's see, monthly statistics. We were a little down this month, which I was disappointed with, but we've been up, so it all washes out. Our digital circulation is definitely increasing. And
about 20%.
Yes, thank you.
Over previous year.
Yes.
I'm familiar with those statistics since I went over with St. Joe.
Let's see. So I had those all out for you. Does anyone have any questions about the
I think
statistics?
the other thing that is that the website, I didn't mention that, but it's significant improvements in the website.
Yes, Matthew's been really working on that. I know I showed you all back in February, March, what we wanted to do with it,
Yeah,
and it's really
Right.
looking
And
great.
to be able to go and print off the month's activities and really either look at them or print them off, it's good job.
Thank you. And the other thing under there is the strategic plan update. I've got the communication and marketing plan. This is really just our roadmap. This is what we're going to be doing. I do have that it's adopted by the Hudson Area Joint Library Board. I don't have it, well, I guess I did have requests for action. So I'd like it to be adopted. It's not something that has to be approved. It is just a roadmap. It lays out the purpose of our plan, what our plan is, our objectives, how we're going to achieve those objectives, and what the outcome will be. And then I included for you just our marketing plan timeline. So that was all in there. I hopefully got everything to everyone in plenty of time to have read through.
I like all the specificity.
That's why it took me a little longer than anticipated to pull it together, but I wanted to have it complete when I presented it.
And to recognize all the social media that you need to use for younger people, that those of us who are more senior are not as familiar with
Yes,
this.
we're definitely trying to use as many tools and as cost effectively as possible.
Here's a question about that. Do we, especially when you operate in a deficit, do we charge for these wireless usage, or we can't?
Same law.
Okay, so the more we make that available, the more we encourage people to use it and increase our costs.
Actually, we don't increase our costs. I mean, a lot of this is, it's not, increased usage does not drive up costs.
Oh, so we don't have light bandwidth, that wireless minutes, or, kind of like, we are at a max, or,
And our technology comes from the state. So,
One thing, correct me if I'm wrong, that we still don't have a handle on is the people that walk in here that do have a Wi-Fi connection to their phone, whatever, and aren't really using it, but they connect automatically the moment they walk in range.
I'm connected automatically.
Right. But you're using it, but, I mean, so I've got my phone, I connect automatically, I'm not using it, but it's considered tabulation here.
Well, you always have to, everything, you have to just keep asking the question when you operate in a deficit. What is anything, service that we're providing, are we charging for it appropriately? Should we be charging for it? Should we be charging more or less, whatever? You just have to remember to keep asking that question when your expenses are greater than your income.
Right.
Question, a quick question, if you, the 8 positions that are open, clerk positions, what are the requirements for those? I mean, they work X number of hours a week, and they're on fixed salary, they're all the same,
They're
right?
all the same.
What does it need, and what's the clerk?
The clerk position that I'm planning to create would be 8 hours a week at 1081. The library aide position are, actually, they're both 8-hour positions, and I'm not 100% positive I'm gonna do both. It depends, when I look at the scheduling, if I really need to. But they are $750.
750 in both of them, 750? And we have no other expenses, no other, you don't have to pay anything else, just flat 750 now.
Done?
I'm done.
Thank you. Personnel and Policy Committee?
okay, so included in the packet was the compensation assessment that Tina did, which was reviewed by the Policy and Personnel Committee at great length. And we ended up voting to bring it forward to to the board for the board's consideration. Because,
Why?
because the vote to do anything else was 2-2.
Oh, so you didn't come to a compromise.
No.
And what the bulk of the conversation was not knowing what was going to be happening with the county decision was the night before too, and what the overall budget was. But we found the comparisons and the thoroughness of the report to be very good. We thought it gave some good information that we should consider in light of those budget numbers. Would that be?
And at least it was my opinion, and I asked Rich to do this, is to bring part of that discussion into closed session.
Yeah, I think anything on compensation should be in closed session, shouldn't it?
It's closed session.
It normally is.
Right. So that, Jill's one of the main reasons why we made the recommendation to bring the information to the full board without a recommendation. Just for review, so that we all know what's going on.
So actually, at the end of the agenda, there is the opportunity to go into closed session. So I would suggest that we
Okay.
refer to that time and then go into closed session.
And that's why I asked Rich to provide us with a closed session. If we do that.
Okay. You done?
Right, we'll be bringing more policies. And we'll continue to review policies and bring them forward. We just ran out of time.
Okay.
We have some nice discussions, that's what makes us
That's nice means many different things.
But
Diversity of opinion.
we have some detailed discussions. Diverse, we're diverse.
Make sure those are recorded
Plus recording.
conversations.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Finance Committee report.
Finance committee. Most of you are taking the finance committee meeting, which is the crux of it, and the usual business of the finance committee was approved to sign pay the bills and so forth, but the consensus on the 2017 proposed budget was to go with option one. And in a nutshell, basically ask the foundation to help us not cut the spending costs by $30,000+ and not dip into the contingency fund, or to get the foundation to help us, but otherwise to go forward with option number one. Budget
Okay.
probably suffice.
I would hope that we all also make a case to our municipal partners to help with that too. But I think it's prudent to do as we did, which is to go with the funding in this budget at the minimum and put in close to this.
Yeah.
Is it fair? This is the message that I'm gonna send, and I wanna make sure it's good. We're gonna operate at a deficit of 50,000 roughly, primarily due to county board, potential county board action taking away $23,000. We also have to cut $30,000 in spending, and we need help from the municipalities and the foundation to help make us cover $80,000 worth of spending.
Right.
So it's more bleak than it's been, a couple of years. Is that a fair characterization?
I don't know that it's more bleak than it's been in a couple of years. I mean, we have cut spending of the resources years ago. I mean, before we made the decision to close on Mondays, we cut $20,000 all of our book purchases, and
Okay, so maybe that part of the statement's not
so
Everything up to that.
it's a very challenging situation, but we've been, part of the problem is that we've been in challenging situations for a number of years. And there's not a lot, there's no fat on the bones. And so we are cutting into the muscle, and to the extent that we can get help from the foundation with replenishing particular resources. I mean, if you look at our statistics, we are a net borrower,
Borrower.
yeah, from the other libraries in our network. And that will probably continue to go up. And it means that people can't come in and just get something here. We have to get it from the manufacturer because we don't have it. We're going to buy it. We don't have enough copies. So it's going to have a negative impact on availability of resources.
Are we budgeting to keep the library open on Mondays throughout the entire year?
Yes.
So,
I guess I would have a problem with that. You know, if we're gonna, I would question why we're doing that. Why are we keeping the library open on Mondays?
Because we care about our patrons and availability of library.
So do I. I care about the people that I go out and meet with, that I have for many years who are fixed incomes, and I care about them too.
Well, we're cutting resources that can
But
make a cut.
we added the money. Now from what I'm hearing is, we're probably gonna take that money away, but we're keeping the library open on Mondays. It just makes sense to me that we would close the library on Mondays, rather than run a deficit. The reason why we had the library closed on Mondays was because to try to control running a deficit. So why would we keep the library open on Mondays?
Kurt, as you recall, we've been running a deficit budget here for years, including with the 40,000 that came in from the city. It just so happened that it didn't work out in a deficit situation at the end of the year, and frankly, that's the way it's been for the last at least 3 years, where we budgeted a deficit and have come in breaking even or doing better. So there's nothing new here with this.
There's nothing new, but it seems a
So
little
we
disingenuous what happened.
No, it's not disingenuous at all.
From the city.
but I think he's got,
You know,
I think he's got a good point, that we owe it to the taxpayers to reassess that decision at the first of the year,
No, we owe it to them to
Based-
reassess that decision right now.
based on the county reducing their funds
Right.
and the reductions to the 3-year averages.
I'm not suggesting that we don't owe it to anybody to review it, but I'm arguing the point that I don't see any point in even suggesting right now that we close on Mondays.
Well, I see a point in bringing it up and talking about it, and I'm gonna vote against the budget based on the fact that it sounds like we're just gonna carry on. We're going to not require that the foundation fill the gap, but ask them if they might be kind enough to do that. So that's kind of a pie in the sky thing. And
No,
then-
you know
Well,
what,
it
you know,
is because it's
Kurt, it's all a matter of how you say it, I guess, and if by you saying it makes you feel better that you said it, good for you. We can't,
What point
we
are you
can't,
making there,
we
Rich? You're
can't,
feeling good
we
about
can't-
saying we can
No,
ask
we
them.
can't require that the foundation do anything. The foundation has gone out to raise money. Now, keep in mind, there are very few foundations that go out and support operating expenses for organizations. All right, and they have stepped up for programming, and they can probably do that again. And they have not ruled out using some of that money for operating expenses, all right? But it's very difficult to go out as a foundation and raise money from your donors telling them it's for operating expenses. It's a difficult thing to do. All
Well, we
right?
shouldn't make that part of our budgetary consideration then.
Well, I mean,
And you insulting me about
Kurt,
saying that
would
where
you-
we are is not
Let me
getting us
see if we
anywhere.
can come up with would you feel comfortable if we said, this is our budget, which we will review again, in January, based on our success or lack of in getting the county to reimburse the 30%, and getting the foundation to raise some money. I mean, we need to have a budget that we can go forward. It doesn't matter if everybody votes for it, but
Well, we
if
need to have
your
a-
point is valid, let's look at, if we really think we can't get any more money from the county back to their normal level, and we really think the foundation can't help us out, then we have a big deficit that we
Well,
have to make some
but we're,
changes.
we're kind of in a different spot here, too, because I would say, I would go beyond that and say if we can't do it, if in January, those two things don't happen, then we have to close the library on Monday.
And if you do that, then the foundation will not be able to be successful in raising any money. You have just created the most negative
But
environment.
Barb, what are they raising the money for then? If they're not gonna raise it for operating expenses, what are we raising it for?
You're not, I don't think there was any are you helping the foundation raise money?
I said what is,
Okay.
don't put me in some box, I mean,
Well,
and try to
you
insult me.
said
I'm getting
our.
insulted from left and right here. I'm saying what is the foundation raising money? What are those people in the foundation, separate from me, doing with the money that they raise? How's that?
What is it for?
What's it for?
It's to support the library and to fund requests that are made by the library.
Because right now we're right back to the cart before the horse argument. That you're saying we're not going to raise or the
I know, I'm not-
foundation.
I
Let
didn't
me
say-
finish my point, Bart. What you're saying is, let me finish my point. That the foundation is going to have a difficult time raising funds if the library closes on Monday. Yet what I'm not hearing is that the library foundation is prepared to fund that. That seems like a logical thing to do
I can't-
because we're going to fund that opening. If the city of Hudson reduces their spending and doesn't fund what they funded this year, and the library foundation, it'd be great if they said, we're going to step in and fund this because having that library open on Mondays is a critical part of our fundraising. But what's happening here is that the board is being forced into, and I knew this was going to happen, the board is being forced into and has been leveraged by the city council and the library foundation to keep the library open on Mondays because otherwise we're just not good citizens. Well, I beg to differ. I'm not here as a representative of North Hudson to just willy-nilly spend money and raise taxes. Many of my neighbors are on fixed incomes. My next-door neighbor is on a fixed income. Those are the people that I represent. Those are the people I come up here and represent when it comes to budgetary discussion. Okay? It's not people that live up on the bluff and have $1 million homes that I worry about. Okay? So that's my point. We're now put in a box. I will not vote for a budget that doesn't firmly say if we don't have these two things, continued funding or money from the library foundation to fill that gap, that we're going to close the library on Mondays, I won't vote for the budget because it's just that simple.
Would you vote for the budget if we said we will reassess in January spending cuts? Which may include the Monday, it may include other cuts.
No, because it's too ambiguous. I vote for it if we say this is what's going to happen because we see it in black and white. This is what's going to have to happen in order to offset this reduction in income. It's just that simple. And we've been leveraged, and I don't like being leveraged by people who give money and take it away, or people who say that they're not going to be able to raise money unless we do this. I don't like being leveraged. And we're being leveraged on two sides right now.
Can I clarify?
Sure.
Just to clarify, I was not speaking for the foundation. It's my perspective that it would be difficult, but I am not speaking for the foundation. I cannot speak for the foundation.
Now, I wish somebody was here that could, because it might be nice, because that's a significant part of what we're anticipating as a budget item.
Well, this is the first that they would have heard about it. They have
Just
no
came up
idea what's
tonight.
going on. And so until they've had a chance to look at this and digest it, we're not going to hear anything from them.
And I'm voting no on the budget.
Well, that's great, but we're not voting on it right now.
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm going to vote no. If it's gonna be
You know what?
something-
I appreciate the heads up. Thank you. So we don't have to go through this again when we do vote on it.
No, it'll be easy.
All right, so, anything else, Finance Committee? Other business?
Don't we have to, oh, we have this,
Okay, other business? Board comments for future agendas?
we have to vote on the budget.
But the budget is subject to the discussions in closed session, so we can't vote on it right now.
Okay,
Well, no,
Actually,
not really.
not really.
Not really. The budget, I mean, the budget as presented is setting things up, and we can do things,
All right,
we can do things in closed session that possibly changes it, but the budget is the budget.
okay,
As is.
all right. Presented the
The
budget.
Finance Committee voted to present the budget option 1 to the board.
Okay. That's, you're moving that?
Motion from committee.
Motion from the committee.
Is there a second? You can do that.
You don't need a second on the motion from
Boy, I don't know, I hadn't seen that before. Normally the chair of the committee will.
I'll second it,
Okay.
just to get us moving.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve option 1 of the budget. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's approved. All right, board comments and items for future agendas. Nothing? Okay. All right, so then I guess we will adjourn to closed session. Motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Moved and
Oh,
seconded.
don't we need to use the official language here?
Now you can read it.
It's published.
It's published, okay.
See you, Don. Good to see you. Okay,
Steve, sorry.
Yep, no, it's fine. I was just writing down a couple numbers.
motion to, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session.
Can I just make a request? Could you, those numbers weren't in that packet that you brought the other day,
No,
were they?
no, this is just coming forward today.
Yeah, was it possible to get that to,
Well, we will. I
Meetings.
mean, as soon as we approve the budget, it will be sent on, but,
yeah, okay, like,
Well, that's approved. That's approved. That's part of the budget.
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
right, yes, yes.
If that becomes something, I'm just asking,
It
if I
will
can see
be
that.
officially.
I'm interested in those numbers as a whole,
Yeah.
Okay,
to talk to people and present. Thank you, I'll leave it, sorry.
yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Click on my junk, thank you.
Steve, I can get you a copy.
Tina, remember that the 2017 budget is not exactly as your chart, it excludes that,
Yeah, I'd say it's close.
The 50,000,
That
yes.
might be,
just to make sure you remember that.
yeah.
Do we need roll call for closed
Yes,
session?
you for closed session, yes. My only concern is, this, did somebody cut off the agenda, or is this the last item on the agenda? We never have an item to come out of closed session. And we don't have an item to adjourn.
Well,
If it's the last item on the agenda, you can adjourn from closed session. That's what I read in the,
How do you document that in minutes? You can't document it in minutes. You can't document anything in closed session in minutes.
We can't, what we can't do is take any action after, if it's not on.
Yeah,
the
you take
agenda.
no action in closed session, and you can't document the close of a meeting in the minutes in a closed session. Here's the problem with that.
We can have the discussion,
Yes,
but we can't take any action.
action is all in open session.
We can't add anything to the agenda right
Not now.
now. And is the camera gonna be turned off in
No,
closed session?
Yes.
Absolutely, cameras turned off.
all right, well, we can just come up with, we can determine what we're going to do in closed session and then have to come back and vote on it in the next meeting.
The next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, we'd have to adjourn in open session. never responded, is that big a deal?
All right. Okay, all those in favor, roll call.
Roll call.
Let's take a roll.
Is that me? Okay. Virgil?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Coppenberg?
Yes.
Barker?
Yes.
Oxby?
Yes.
Schrock? Weiss?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so we're adjourned to closed session.
We're in closed session.
If you could shut